I grew up in a house that never felt empty, even when no one else was home. The air had a kind of pulse to it, like a quiet heartbeat you couldn't hear, but could feel if you stood still long enough. Dad said it was the furnace. Old metal, old pipes, old bones of a house that groaned when it settled. But even as a kid, I could tell that sound came from deeper than the furnace. It came from below. We didn't talk about the basement much. We didn't have to. Mom started sleeping down there when I was 8. Dad called it her rest. He'd say she was tired, that the doctor said she needed peace and quiet, and the basement was the coolest place in the house. It wasn't a lie. The basement was always cold, even in July, but I knew something was wrong from the way he locked the door at night. He'd turn the key twice, breathing through his nose, jaw tight, like he was trying not to cry. When I asked why, he'd just say, "So she doesn't wake you up, sweetheart." Mom used to hum while she cooked, little fragments of lullabies, barely there, as if she only half remembered them. After she went downstairs, I kept hearing that humming at night, drifting up through the vents. The tune warped and slowed, sometimes breaking into a low croak that made my chest tighten. I thought maybe Dad left a radio on. I thought maybe she was lonely. One night I crept to the basement door. The key wasn't in the lock. Dad had gone to bed early. I could hear him snoring from down the hall. The handle was cold, so cold it stung my palm when I touched it. I remember the click of the latch like a gun going off in a church. The smell that came out was damp and sweet, like old flowers left in a vase too long. I whispered, "Mom." There was a sound from below, a slow dragging shuffle, and a breath like someone blowing over the mouth of a bottle. Then that humming again, close now, right under the stairs. I ran back to my room. The next morning, the key was back in the lock. Dad stopped going to work a few months later. He sat at the kitchen table, staring at his coffee until it went cold. Sometimes he'd talk to himself, muttering prayers or pieces of sentences that didn't make sense. "It has to feed," I heard once, "or it takes us all." I pretended not to hear. At night, the furnace thumped and rattled. The house would shake, but gently, like something breathing deep underground. And when it did, I'd smell that same sweet rot, and the air in my room would grow heavy and warm. One night I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Their feet, soft but certain. They stopped outside my door. "Baby," came a voice. It was hers, except it wasn't. The words had a stretched sound, like someone trying to remember how to speak. "I'm so proud of you," it said. Then silence. I couldn't scream, I couldn't move. I just waited until morning, when sunlight made everything feel like a lie. After Dad died, they said it was his heart, but I remember the look on his face when I found him. Not fear, resignation, like he'd finally stopped fighting. They buried him in the backyard because Mom wanted it that way. Or at least, that's what Aunt Clara said. But Mom had been sleeping for years by then. No one ever went down to check. The furnace broke that winter. I was 16. The repairman was only in the basement for 5 minutes before he came running up, pale and sweating. He said there was mold, that it wasn't safe, that I should call an exterminator. He wouldn't even take his payment, just drove away. That night the humming came back louder than ever. There was a rhythm to it now, a heartbeat under the melody. And between the notes, whispers, 2 voices, not one, Dad's and hers. When I left for college, I promised myself I'd never go back. I lasted 12 years. Then last month, the realtor called. Said the house had been sold, but they found something in the basement during renovation. A sealed section. Asked if I wanted to come identify it before they destroyed it. Against every instinct I had, I said yes. The air was still cold when I walked in, the way a church feels before a funeral. The new owners had torn up the carpets, but the smell was the same. Sweet, floral, spoiled. The basement door was open. Inside, everything looked smaller than I remembered. The walls were slick with damp. The furnace was still there, rusted and sunken in on itself. But behind it, where the wall should have been, there was a hole, black, pulsing faintly. as if the house itself were breathing. A shape lay at the edge of it. I thought it was a bundle of cloth until I saw the hair, long, black, preserved somehow, though the air was heavy with decay. When I said her name, something shifted. The air thickened. The hair moved. Her face turned toward me. It wasn't bone. It wasn't flesh. It was a mask of both, as if something underneath was trying to wear her like a costume. Her mouth opened. No breath came out, only that low hum. And then, behind it, Dad's voice. "It's your turn." The ground shook. The furnace roared back to life, the sound deeper than metal, older than anything that should have lived in a house. The hole widened. For a moment, I saw what was beneath it. Not darkness, but motion, like water, thick with shapes that looked almost human. Almost. I ran. I don't remember leaving the house or the drive home, only that when I got back to my apartment, the lights were flickering and the air smelled faintly of roses gone to rot. That was a week ago. I haven't slept since. Sometimes when the pipes in my building groan, I hear the tune she used to hum. And last night, when I turned on the heater, the air came out cold. Then I heard the sound again, low, steady, like breathing through the walls. I turned off the heater, but the sound didn't stop. It's in the vents now. It's everywhere. I think it's looking for somewhere new to sleep.